mistakes we are witnessing is beyond Olympic levels. But by and large, what I believe should be the priority at this moment will be to keep interrogating the motives and the antecedents of various candidates of the 18 political parties that we have. We've consistently done that on the parliament, several episodes on this program. We've interrogated the antecedents, the motives of the various presidential candidates, and today we'll also be tolling in the
what they're telling me when it comes to Anambra State. I was telling them that we have money to meet up our obligations. We can't owe contractor, we can't owe suppliers. We're going to clear off the pension. Everybody say, no, you can't be able to do it. I mean, it's the same thing. And I can tell you, it will be the same at the center. Do the right things and everything. When I start cutting down cost of everything, people were shouting, but go and read what my head of service wrote, stinginess as a strategy for development. Because when I start plucking those loopholes in order to get the fund to do the right things, they start celebrating it. It's very simple. We're not cutting down, we're cutting down on waste in order to use it to where it's efficient, where it will be good. We need to fund the most critical that requires to develop education. If you want to develop, you follow the path. There's already a critical and straightforward measure of development, Human Development Index. And that is thing on what? Health, education, and per capita, pulling people out of poverty. When you do that, you'll be able to start development in the right direction. So you're going to put more stop waste and throw money into this. Today our university is closed. How come? Nigeria, by all measure, is far below the tertiary school intake.
What would you have done differently with regards to what's going on with ASU and the federal government?
I will not be in government and universities are closed for 2 months. It will not happen. I can tell you that. I will take charge of the negotiation. Nobody will do it. It won't happen. I'm not saying it cannot happen, but if it happens, I will be in charge of, I will be pleading, I will be begging them, I will find a solution to it. And I think we can find a solution to it. You can't sign an agreement in 2009 and have not fulfilled at least a quarter of it by now. No.
Another issue bedeviling the country is the issue of insecurity, the most recent one being the attack on the Kuje Correctional Facility. And it looks like anybody who is coming in now would have to tackle the issue of insecurity first in order to, face other things head on. I would like to understand what your plans are in terms of ensuring that every, states in this country is secure.
Well, insecurity, you have two means of fighting insecurity. The number one method of fighting insecurity is what we call natural security. You must put people out of poverty. You can't have 100 million people living in poverty. You can't have millions of young people in their productive age doing nothing. You can't shut down your schools and think you can go home and sleep. No. It is shown everywhere in the world. Go to all the South American countries, to the Asian countries. The more you put people out of poverty, the more you reduce criminality. If you go to your village now, there's still in every village all over the place because people are hungry. That's what I'm talking about, country being productive. If they have something they're doing, I have visited prisons, interviewed some of the so-called kidnappers or the young people they used to do this. And if you see how much they give them, 30, 40, 50,000 naira, which means they have a steady job, they won't engage in this. Then you have to equip your security agencies properly.
What would you say
so you deal with it decisively?
About the number of security personnel that we have, just about 300,000.
Very low for the country. Very low. I can tell you that. I was in Egypt. Egypt is a country of 1 million, about 100 million. They have over 1 million policemen. Tunisia, a country of about 10 million. They have almost 150 thousand. You can't. It's very low. You need to manage properly. You need to equip them properly. You need to also, you see, people think that motivating a system is only by paying them or salary, anything. You need to be on top of it.
Are you looking at recruiting 50 million Nigerian youths, maybe like some of your counterparts?
You can't need 50. Yeah. I don't need to recruit 50 million youths. I need 50 million youths to be productive. I need to put them in the right place. The Nigerian youths are very resourceful, they're people that if you support them very well, I'd rather have 50 million, which is even too much. I'd rather have millions of youths in micro, small enterprises. That's what drives the future, because they'll be able to create wealth. What have created wealth and made economies work all over the world is making sure that you support the micro, small, medium enterprises. You need entrepreneurship is what changes the world.
All right. Let's get a little bit more into the politicking that is happening, because it's getting really heated up, and the kind of intrigues that we're seeing in the political scene in Nigeria now is getting interesting. Just a few days ago, the candidate of the APC chose a running mate. So we know that for most parties, including your party and yourself, it was a lot of consultations to choose the final running mate. You had a running mate before who stood in before you now finally made your choice in the person of Senator Yusuf Datti Baba Ahmed. And I want to come to this. It took you time to make this choice, and I want to get in your mind to know what you were considering before you made that choice, because the APC candidate has chosen a Muslim, and he too is a Muslim, and we come from a diverse country in terms of religion and ethnicity. I want to know if you put into considerations religion and ethnicity when you made the choice of Senator Yusuf Datti Baba Ahmed.
Everything was considered, but above all, competence, merit, ability to complement and with me in what we're doing. I needed a younger person who shares my ideas, who understands my journey of turning this place to be a productive country. And that's what I did. But every other thing was considered. Nobody can tell you that, oh, he's going to make a choice and he will ignore. People say, I said and I said. The priority should not be tribe, it should not be religion, but that doesn't mean it should not be in consideration. Because when you come from a diverse country like ours, where there's so many, where it's, sensitivities, religion and everything, you have to make it inclusive. You have to tolerate each other. So for me, everything was there. But above all, it was competence that drove the process.
What was the consideration when Labour Party was in talks with NNPP regarding Kwankwaso being your running mate?
Same thing.
Do you think Kwankwaso fits into your ideology?
Oh, well, what it is that, Kwankwaso comes from it. You can say he did a lot or did something on education. I was a champion of education. Remember, I moved it from 26 to number 1. Anambra is the most educated, advanced, in terms of education advances in the past few years. It was Anambra State. And I believe that the first infrastructure you need to build is human infrastructure, not physical infrastructure.
No, the talking about Kwankwaso, I'm asking if those were the same considerations, because the interview that he granted recently, and you, of course, you got your right of reply, and you said something along the lines of his response regarding, running mates, the Southeast is the same reason why Nigeria hasn't moved forward.
Yes.
Now, somebody who thinks like that, do you think he's
No, what he said was, in terms of us working together, his reason and what he said, he didn't say, he just said that the Northerners will not vote for a Southeasterner.
Because of the agitation.
That doesn't mean that it doesn't have, we don't share a bit of similarity in terms of education. And he said that we are loyalists, and I said, not voting or not voting, or people not voting based on A or B is the reason why Nigeria is where it is, and I stand by it. Right. You have to vote for people based on their competence. I don't want people in the Southeast to vote for P2B because it's from Southeast. I don't want them to South to vote for me for any special consideration. I don't want them not to vote for me because of any special consideration. I want them to vote for me because I'm competent, because I'm capable, because I know what I would do to turn around Nigeria. You just said Nigeria is going to be very difficult, and I can tell you, whoever is going to come after this government is going to inherit a bankrupt nation. But I've been a turnaround expert. I've turned around businesses that failed. And that is what I want to do, to be able to turn around this failed business and give people hope.
All right. Kwankwaso raised fears about the apprehension about the secessionist movement in the Southeast being the reason why the North might be afraid to vote any candidate from the Southeast as president, given that they think that a candidate from the Southeast will be sympathetic to the movement. And this talk about the agitation in the Southeast is not something that we can avoid. Some people have had issues with the handling of the agitation so far in the present administration. How would you, if you inherit this agitation, how would you handle the agitation in the Southeast for secession?
Let me correct you first. Southeast is not the only place there's agitation. There's agitation also in the Southwest. Igbo and Ko are also agitating for Yoruba states. We have problems in the Northeast. Boko Haram and Aswab. We have problems in the south, northwest. So there's problems all over the place. But I've said it repeatedly. I will deal with all agitators decisively through dialogue, engagement, and then remove the criminals who are operating under this cover and deal with them as criminals. Simple.
Okay.
It's something that you can deal by engagement, by dialogue. I'm contesting election as a Nigerian. I'm a Nigeria. I believe in Nigeria. And I want to change Nigeria. And I know what it takes to change Nigeria. Because I know that it's a great country that I can make productive for the interests of everybody.
All right. The Labour Party has been in existence since 2003. And your emergence or you joining the Labour Party, kind of resuscitated the party. And on few occasions, we've had the chairman of Labour Party here in Enugu State. And it seems to be a challenge that they do not have offices, I don't know about now, across the 36 states of the country. And there's been this talks about social media does not win elections. Labour Party does not have structure and all of those, perceptions. So I don't know what you have done so far in order to ensure that you build this structure across the 36 states of the Federation.
Thank you very much. Let me tell you, you don't start any business, especially a turnaround business. You said you have been there and I've just joined them. You don't start any business by building branches overnight. You first build the headquarters. And then you cascade where the branches are. I've been a builder of business. We will build this business called Labour Party, and it will work. And you will see it happen. When people talk about structure, the first structure I have is God. Then in Nigeria, my structures are the 100 million people who are living in poverty. The structures are 55% of Nigerians who are supposed to be gainfully employed, who are under or unemployed. My structure, our structure on labor are those people who are being owed salary. They are the ASU people who are on strike. There are students who are supposed to be in school. Then, so when people talk about structure, our structure is enormous. Our structure is people who have seen mismanagement of our resources in the past years. Our structure are people who are now going to inherit this year 40 something, which I told you is something trillion debt. So the structures are there.
Okay.
So when people talk about structure, I've seen it before. When I was contesting, people were talking about structure. The structure is you, because I'm sure you want a better Nigeria. That's my structure.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll get back to you in a moment. Let's go for a news break. We'll be right back in a couple of minutes. It's still tuned into Urban Parliament on Urban Radio 94.5 FM. A news break will be up next.
From the capital of the Southeast to the world.
This is 94.5 Urban Radio Newsbreak.
Good morning and welcome to Newsbreak. Good morning and welcome to News Update in 94.5 seconds. My name is Favor Echo. The presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, is currently in a live interview on Urban Radio 94.5 FM, discussing national issues ahead of the 2023 presidential election. The youth wing of the Ohaneze Ndibo Worldwide (OIC) yesterday slammed Bola Tinubu's choice of the former governor of Borno, Kashim Shettima, as his running mate, arguing that it's against the law of natural justice and an insult to millions of Christians in the country, as no religion had precedence over the other. A trigger-happy police officer attached to the Nekede Police Division allegedly shot at a National Diploma ND2 student of the Federal Polytechnic Nekede Polynek at the entrance gate of Benjen Lodge, Umuo Komoche, Owerri West local government area of Imo State. President Muhammadu Buhari has called on Academic Staff Union of Universities (ASU) to reconsider their position on the continued strike, expressing worry that the break will have generational consequences on families, the educational system, and future development of the country. The president of France, Emmanuel Macron, has reappointed Nigerian business mogul and chairman of BUA Group, Abdul Samad Rabiu, as the president of France-Nigeria Business Council. Defending champions, the Super Falcons of Nigeria, have arrived in Casablanca, Morocco, for their quarter-final fixture against Cameroon at the ongoing 2022 Africa Women's Cup of Nations. On entertainment, Nollywood actor Kenneth Okonkwo has resigned his membership from the All Progressives Congress (APC), citing the decision of the ruling party to field a Muslim presidential candidate for the 2023 elections as a major reason. You are up to the minute in 94.5 seconds. My name is Favor Echo.
From the capital of the Southeast to the world.
This is 94.5 Urban Radio Newsbreak.
Why do we talk? We talk because transformation begins with a thought, and talks provokes thoughts, and talks inspire our consciousness. A new consciousness stimulates change in individuals and societies. Nigeria is not a geographical expanse of land spreading from the north to the south. Nigeria is the people that live in it. A nation is transformed only when its people are. So let's keep talking until we get it right. Join us every weekday for the Parliament, 9 a.m., exclusively on Urban Radio 94.5 FM.
On On today's edition of the Parliament, we will be featuring the Labour Party presidential candidate and former governor of Anambra State, Mr. Peter Obi. Stay tuned.
Welcome back from the news break. It's the Parliament on Urban Radio 94.5 FM, and this morning we are having a special edition as we have a conversation with the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi, who is here with us in the studio. We've had 45 minutes of interesting conversations where the presidential candidate of the Labour Party has addressed a number of issues that we've raised this morning. Be guaranteed that you would get an opportunity to maybe ask questions or just give comments on what you've heard us discuss so far on the Parliament. We'll do that in a moment, but let's get back to the conversation. Favor, I believe you have something for.
Definitely, I do. Just before we get to the talk lines, there's a very important question I'd love to ask. INEC in 2021 created about 56 extra polling units, right? And prior to that, we had about 119,974 polling units across the country. Now, when you talk about structure, if you want to ensure party agents are stationed at those polling units, it's capital intensive. How do you intend to deal with this, bearing in mind the huge role money plays in Nigerian politics?
Well, like I said before, I'm urging the people to take back their country. So it won't be money will not play that role you think it's going to play. The people will because they now know that those who are giving them money or those who are doing are actually the ones that are taking their money. The people who own it. This movement we're doing today is we're not giving anybody money. I'm not giving anybody money, but people own it.
At the grassroots, do you think they are well enlightened?
Let me tell you what you think. I've heard when you talk about social media. Let's go out in the street today now. You see, it's not social media. Let's go out in villages. I've been to places in Nigeria. It's not social media. I urge you now, when you finish this program, let's go out in the street and you see that it's not social media. Let's go out in the market. I was at the airport this morning. Those people are not in social media.
All right.
It is human beings because they know they have a country that is collapsing. This country today, in terms of security, is just next after Afghanistan and Somalia. So you're going to collapse. So we've met all the requirements of a failed state. We're no longer in control of our territory. You're no longer in control of your economy. So it's not going to be business as usual. It's not where you give people money, they collect the money and they'll do the right thing.
So people are hungry, and realistically speaking, those
people who are hungry will collect the money, which they use it for that day, but they'll do the right thing.
You're convinced this is what will play out?
That's what is happening now.
Let's talk about your style of politics. Some people have said that even people who are proclaimed obedient youths have said that your style of politics might just be too soft for the Nigerian terrain, given that they were lashing out at some of your critics on social media, and you came out to tell them to tone it down and not to be very antagonistic with your opponents. And they are saying this is not the Nigerian way of playing politics. What are your thoughts on this?
It's not let me tell you, most of those people you see that are lashing out on other people are not my supporters. They're actually people other people paid in order to say, oh, these are his supporters. Just like now, They have all sorts of people. They even have people. They then bring people who will be threatening for war, for this, for everything. Here in the southeast here, is there war in Enugu here?
No.
Enugu is far more secured than most states in Nigeria. But the way they paint it is as if you come here, they've declared a war. There's no war.
But your opponents will declare war.
No.
Your opponents will declare war.
We're not going to declare war. When they come with war, when they show us hatred, we show them love. I'm not in politics of discussing people. I'm not in politics of quarreling with people. I'm in politics of ideas and what we can do to save the place. And I've shown an example. From the private sector to the public sector, I've shown that I'm a manager of resources. Simple. And that's what I want you to show me where you're coming from, and you can go and verify. You just verified and said, oh, they're criticizing about my investment in somewhere. Let other people show where they invested the money that were handed over to them. The money was missing. I used my own. Even if you said this year I went down, I invested it.
All right. There was something Buba Galadima said, and not just Buba Galadima, most of the political elites, they've pointed this out, and that is the fact that you are very good with the economy. Talking about politics, two things are involved. Either you win or you lose. So there are chances that you will emerge, and there are also chances that you will not emerge. So let's say, for instance,